In My Spy, the Eternal City, Dave Bautista and Chloe Coleman return as their characters face new dynamics in a relationship that brings laugh, action, and unfortunately some very generic Russian villains. So to summarize the film, it has been a few years since JJ and Sophie had their chance encounter, and now Sophie's 14 years old. JJ, as he's trying to be more of a family man since he's dating Sophie's mother and taking care of her, he is taking a desk job in Langley, Virginia, and he focuses on being an analyst and tries to focus on his day job and taking care of Sophie and pretty much avoids going out to the field whenever possible. But as you can imagine, with Sophie becoming a teenager and her sort of dad being somebody who knows all these tech things and spy gadgets, she feels a little bit too watched over. And add in that their relationship is still very much built on her training to be a spy, and it seems like they kind of hit a glass ceiling with their relationship. But thankfully for JJ and Sophie to a certain degree, Sophie gets the opportunity with her choir to sing for the Vatican. JJ gets the chaperone, and as that happens, there is a case the CIA has to deal with somebody trying to use Soviet-era weapons in order to blackmail the world. And through Sophie and JJ trying to stop said person, and also Bobby and David joining in, you get a sequel that may not feel necessary, but still is entertaining. Getting to the highlights. It is very interesting to watch JJ and Sophie's relationship evolve from her being this little kid who's kind of enamored with JJ because of all this cool stuff he can do, to the lust that kind of wearing away because while Sophie can't do some of the things that JJ does as a spy, she is learning her own type of means of being a spy. In terms of she may not be doing rocket launches and all that type of stuff, but it seems she's more gearing toward the sneaking and fighting if she has to side, rather than guns blazing, bazookas, and all that, grandeur stuff. And in many ways, you can see because they're starting to diverge, not only in terms of her interest in being a spy or being trained, but also because she's getting older, interested in boys and stuff like that. It's leading to this close relationship fracturing, and adding that, even though Sophie doesn't talk about her dad or maybe even knows her dad because it's been like 4 years since the first My Spy, there is this sense that while she likes JJ, his authority is something that she hasn't grown used to, even after all this time, to call him dad, at least on a consistent basis. And seeing him kind of in pain because she hasn't gotten to that point yet, it gives the character of JJ a little bit more depth than you expect. And naturally, as the story goes on, they get closer again, and eventually he earns that title, but it's a bit of a journey. With that said, while this is definitely a bit of a journey, and of course has all the action you expect, including Chloe Coleman, if not her stunt person, Christina Basket, doing a lot of special stunts that definitely make it seem like, Sophie's evolving to the point that you can imagine a third movie, like really having her do something. In this film specifically, it's still very much comical. Now, of course, because Sophie's not a little kid anymore, Dave Bautista can't play off of those jokes, but they try to compensate by having this vice principal Nancy now be someone who's kind of questioning JJ and kind of belittling him in a way that can be comical. And of course, they decide to make Bobby and also David a bit of a bigger presence, which honestly is a little bit hit and miss, but it could just be that when it comes to their stick, especially Ken Jeong's stick, it's just not as funny as I would wish it was, but for other people, they might still very much be hilarious. Which leads it on the fence portion. That's just the villain brings so little to this film. Because unfortunately, when it comes to My Spy, the Eternal City, it's just generic as Russian villains. And this isn't to say that they don't cut a joke here and there and provide decent action sequences, but it's a nearly 2-hour movie, And from the personalities to even their motive in some ways, it all just falls flat to the point where it's like, again, besides the first one being a hit, what was the point of producing the sequel? Hence why overall, when it comes to My Spy the Eternal City, it's not as funny as the original, especially because it loses that little kid discovering a secret agent on a mission, but it tries to compensate by giving the film a bigger heart, maintaining some sense of action, and having it so that this little kid goes from a potential liability to an asset. But even with the positives in it, because of how crap the villain is and how spotty the new comedy is, considering they can't rely on, little kid, big guys type stuff. While the film can be considered entertaining, some people may feel, as I do in many ways, that this wasn't necessary.